Welcome to Whisper Facts 101. Here is 101 fascinating facts about Howard Stern. Long before modern stadiums filled with thunderous cheers, football found its roots in quiet English villages, where people played with handmade balls and winding streets and open fields. The game evolving slowly like a whispered secret passed from one generation to the next beneath the watchful gaze of cloudy skies and time-worn cobblestones. Though the roar of the crowd may define today's game, it's soothing to remember that the earliest football matches were often played in silence, with no official rules, just the gentle agreement between neighbors and friends who let instinct and community guide the ball through open meadows and village greens, under the golden hush of dusk. In the quiet moments before a match begins, when the field still glows gently under the stadium lights, it's easy to forget that the iconic black and white football design was chosen not for spectacle, but so early televisions, black and white themselves, could better display the ball, blending utility and beauty in a gentle kind of harmony. The softest detail in football history may be that Brazil's iconic yellow jersey, now synonymous with passion and flair, was chosen in a nationwide competition after their 1950 World Cup loss, as the country gently sought to brighten its spirit through color, choosing a sunlit shade that now floats like a hopeful breeze across every pitch. Some say the most peaceful moment in football comes just after a goal is scored, not from the crowd celebration, but from the serene, almost sacred pause that follows, a stillness where players breathe, time holds its breath, and even the ball rests briefly in quiet satisfaction at having found its way home. In the soft twilight of a winter evening game, you might notice how goalkeepers often hum to themselves, a ritual many don't speak about, but one that helps them stay calm, their gloved hands rising like wings as they center themselves in the hush before a corner kick, the goal mouth quiet like a chapel. During the Second World War, football found unlikely refuge in prisoner-of-war camps, where matches were played with improvised balls and makeshift goals, not for victory, but to hold on to something gentle and familiar, a reminder of normal life that drifted like a warm memory through cold fences and foreign fields. In Iceland, where long winters wrap the land in snow and silence, football training often takes place indoors beneath soft artificial light, and many players learn the game barefoot on indoor courts, giving rise to an unusually technical and grounded style, shaped not by noise or crowds, but by rhythm and touch in calm, echoing halls. When night falls over old stadiums like Anfield or the San Siro, and all the fans have gone, a peaceful kind of magic lingers in the air, as if the ghosts of games past whisper quietly across the grass, telling stories only the turf remembers, of glories, heartbreaks, and fleeting moments of perfect, delicate grace. The most touching tradition in Japanese football may be the bowing of players to fans after every match, win or lose, a simple, graceful expression of thanks that turns the final whistle into a shared moment of stillness and respect, as if both sides are saying together, "We were here and we played with honor." When the rain begins to fall softly over an open football pitch, there's a particular rhythm to the game that changes. The ball schemes with a hushed glide, players' movements become more deliberate, and the echo of every pass grows just a little deeper, almost like the earth itself is listening in, holding its breath with every gentle touch. In the quiet hours of morning training, before the world awakens, footballers often practice with nothing but the sound of their own breathing and the soft thud of the ball against turf. The sunrise casting long shadows as they chase improvement not with urgency, but with patience, like artists gently brushing their craft onto a vast green canvas. There's a lovely story from the 1982 World Cup when the Algerian team played with such quiet dignity that even in defeat, they left the field with their heads held high, and many years later, fans still speak of their graceful passing game, which moved like water, elegant, fluid, and entirely unbothered by the noise around them. It's a gentle truth that the white lines on a football pitch, freshly painted before a match, have a scent and a softness to them that few notice, a kind of grounding presence beneath the drama of the game, guiding the ball and the players like invisible hands reminding them of the shape of their shared dream. In youth academies tucked into the corners of sleepy towns, young players are often taught not only how to pass and shoot, but how to respect silence, how to listen to the rhythm of the ball as it moves, how to be aware of their breath and heartbeat, learning that football is not just about noise, but about stillness too. On nights when fog rolls gently across a stadium, football takes on a dreamlike quality. The lights glow softly through the mist, and every player seems to drift in and out of visibility like dancers in a fog-bound ballet, the crowd hushed by the surreal beauty of a game momentarily played between the real and the imagined. In the archives of football history, there's a quiet record of a 0-0 match played in utter silence during a day of mourning. No cheers, no chants, only the sound of footsteps on grass, of the ball being passed with reverence, as if the players knew they were holding space not for victory, but for remembrance. Though it's rarely spoken aloud, many players have superstitions that are deeply personal and calming. A certain sock pulled on first, a moment of breath with eyes closed before stepping onto the field, or a whispered word to no one in particular, small rituals that anchor them gently in the moment, far from the roar of the crowd. One of the quietest revolutions in football was the introduction of lightweight boots, designed not just for speed, but to let players feel the ball more closely, to reduce the distance between mind, foot, and touch, like removing a barrier between thought and action, making the game feel less like work and more like art performed in motion. In a small town in Spain, there's a tradition where after each home game, fans leave scarves gently tied to the fence surrounding the pitch, not for victory, but as quiet thanks for the effort of the team, a soft-spoken way to say, "We saw you, and we appreciate you," as those scarves fluttered gently in the evening breeze. When players walk out from the tunnel and touch the pitch for the first time, there's a small and sacred moment when some of them close their eyes just for a heartbeat, to center themselves, to feel the softness of the ground beneath their boots, and to remember the joy that first brought them to this field so long ago. It's a little-known fact that many retired players return to the pitch not to coach or compete, but simply to walk across the empty field in solitude, finding peace in the feel of the grass beneath their shoes, where memories echo in the silence like soft waves returning to a quiet, familiar shore. The act of juggling a football, just one player, one ball, and an open space, can become a meditative practice where the mind quiets, the world fades, and the ball becomes a rhythmic partner in a dance of balance and breath, the kind of repetition that soothes and centers the soul like the rhythm of gentle rain. There's a heartwarming tale from a small village in Italy, where after each youth match, the players sit with their grandparents on wooden benches near the field, sharing homemade snacks in silence. No analysis, no critique, just warm smiles and the feeling of belonging, a reminder that football is, at its core, a bridge between generations. On early autumn afternoons, when the leaves begin to fall near rural pitches, the game often slows into a poetic rhythm, where players and spectators alike feel the turning of seasons reflected in each pass and pause, a gentle acceptance that time moves forward, and football, in its quiet constancy, moves with it like a faithful companion. In certain parts of the world, players train barefoot in the sand, feeling the earth with each step and learning balance in a way that shoes cannot teach. And even years later, they carry with them a grounded calmness, a connection to the field that brings a unique serenity to the way they play, soft and sure. Before matches in Japan, some school teams gather in a circle and close their eyes for a moment of collective breath, not to focus on strategy, but to feel unity. This pause, simple and sacred, binds them gently together in silence, so that when they step onto the pitch, they're already moving in quiet harmony. In the soft light of dawn, groundskeepers around the world tend to their pitches like gardens, smoothing every blade of grass, repainting lines, and ensuring each net is perfectly placed. This unseen care, done in ear silence, creates the peaceful foundation upon which the noise and beauty of the game will soon unfold. There are few things more calming than the sound of a football gently bouncing down a quiet street, echoing between houses in the golden hour of sunset, when the world feels hushed and soft, and the ball's rhythm becomes a lullaby of childhood dreams still alive in the hearts of those who once played just for joy. In small villages, where the stadiums are no more than patches of grass and the crowds no bigger than a handful of families, there's a sense of peace that wraps around the game. A reminder that sometimes the heart of football beats most softly in the quietest corners, where passion whispers rather than roars. Some players find serenity in the ritual of tying their cleats before a match, each knot made with quiet precision, a calming routine that focuses their mind and prepares them not just for the game, but for the stillness that comes before every storm, the calm before the crowd stirs and the ball is set into motion. In the moments after the final whistle, when both teams walk off the field and the stadium begins to empty, there's an almost sacred silence that settles over the pitch, the air still heavy with the weight of the game, but the crowd's energy now exchanged for a deep, peaceful pause where only the soft hum of the earth remains. Some of the greatest managers in football are known for their ability to remain calm under pressure, standing on the sideline with a quiet confidence, using their subtle movements and whispered instructions to guide their players with the same ease that a gardener might tend to delicate blooms, patiently nurturing every decision. On rare nights, when a full moon rises above the pitch and the floodlights cast long shadows over the field, football takes on a magical quality, the game unfolding not under the glare of competition, but in the quiet light of cosmic wonder, where players feel, just for a moment, that they are part of something much larger than the game itself. For some players, the true calm of football comes not in the roar of a crowd, but in the peaceful solitude of early morning practice sessions, the quiet hum of the world before the noise, where the only sounds are the ball's steady rhythm and the soft swish of the net as it receives each perfect shot. The most peaceful football matches often take place not in the grand stadiums, but in quiet, forgotten places where players are more connected to the earth beneath them than to the pressure of victory. Small fields, with just a few fans, where the game flows like a river, gentle and unhurried, as if time itself has taken a step back. In the heart of South America, where football is more of a religion than a sport, there's a peaceful tradition where players and fans gather before every match to share a simple, silent moment, a collective breath, a unifying thought, before the game begins, grounding everyone in the shared experience of what is to come. The art of defending in football is not just about blocking the ball, but about creating calm, intercepting passes with a quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly where the ball will be, responding not with haste, but with patience, as though the game itself is a puzzle to be solved in its own time. As the first warm rays of dawn break over a football pitch, the earth seems to breathe in rhythm with the game, every blade of grass whispering its welcome to the players who will soon dance across it, their movements slow and purposeful in the early stillness, a moment of quiet before the day bursts into action. Many players describe a sense of serenity when they're in the zone, as if the rest of the world fades away, leaving only the ball, the field, and their own thoughts, that rare, peaceful place where the game exists not as a contest, but as a pure form of expression, a soft flow of energy between mind and body. When footballers retire and step away from the game, many find themselves drawn back to the pitch in unexpected ways, not to play, but to walk, quietly reflecting on their journey, feeling the soft give of the turf beneath their feet and remembering the stillness that football, at its core, always provided them. In moments of calm, just before a match begins, players often stand in the tunnel, eyes closed, breathing deeply and allowing themselves to absorb the atmosphere, the quiet hum of the crowd, the scent of freshly cut grass, the sense that this game will not be rushed, but live in the present moment. Before every World Cup match, there's a quiet tradition in the locker rooms where players exchange handshakes, not for luck, but as a way to connect with each other, a simple, peaceful acknowledgement of shared purpose, where respect is passed from one player to the next like a quiet bond woven into the fabric of the game. In the sleepy hills of Wales, where football pitches are tucked into valleys, players often find solace in the stillness before a match, gazing out over fields that stretch into the horizon, allowing the landscape to ground them before they step onto the field, bringing with them the peaceful energy of the natural world. On mornings when the mist hangs softly over the pitch, players often find their movements slowed by the serenity of the air, each touch of the ball more deliberate, as if the fog itself has muted the outside world, leaving only the sound of the ball rolling gently over the grass and the quiet rhythm of each player's breath. There's something magical about the moment before a penalty kick is taken, the silence that settles over the stadium, the focus in the eyes of the player, the heartbeat that quickens but remains steady, as if the entire universe pauses to watch this small, defining moment unfold with perfect stillness. In the countryside of Italy, football is often played by the soft glow of lanterns, where the evening sky fades to twilight and the players move like shadows across the field, the sound of their cleats muffled by the earth, their focus so absorbed in the game that the noise of the outside world seems distant, as though it no longer exists. Some of the most dedicated football players find calm in the simplest of rituals, like placing a small stone in their pocket before each game, feeling its cool smoothness as they step onto the pitch, a personal talisman that anchors them in peace, no matter how loud the crowd or intense the match may become. In rural Argentina, there's a tradition where children often play football barefoot, feeling the earth beneath their feet with every movement, learning to connect to the ground with every pass and shot. This practice, done in the stillness of wide-open fields, gives them a grounded calmness that stays with them long after they've traded their bare feet for boots. The quietest, most serene moments often come during halftime, when players retreat to the locker room for a brief respite. While the noise of the crowd may still hum in the distance, inside, there is a gentle peace as they rehydrate, stretch, and reset their minds, finding solace in the shared silence before the second half begins. On a small quiet island off the coast of New Zealand, there's a community that holds an annual football match where the emphasis isn't on winning or scoring, but on playing for the sheer joy of it, with no referees and no rules, just a peaceful game enjoyed in the company of friends under the vast, unhurried sky. There's a sweet irony to the fact that the greatest players, those who appear to move with effortless grace on the pitch, often speak of the peace they find in practice, where the pressure of competition fades away, and the joy of the game becomes a personal journey, each repetition a soft meditation on the art of movement. Some say that a football pitch can be as much a place of calm reflection as a place of competition, where moments of stillness occur between the action. A pass that is weighted perfectly, a ball that floats just above the ground for a moment, offering players and spectators alike a peaceful, suspended feeling that lingers like a gentle sigh. In the quiet tradition of English football, it's often said that the most cherished matches are those played under the soft gray skies of winter, when the pitch becomes muddy and slow, and every player moves with a kind of patient elegance, as if the game itself is a delicate conversation shared between old friends. Some players find peace in the subtle art of dribbling, the ball seemingly gliding under their control, its movements soft and fluid, like a whisper against the ground. It's in these quiet moments of perfect balance that the game feels less like a contest and more like an intimate dance between player and ball. Before the roar of the crowd fills the air, some players take a moment, sitting quietly by the touchline, eyes closed, as they imagine the game unfolding in their minds. This gentle visualization, a quiet rehearsal, helps to calm their nerves and prepare them not for the noise that is to come, but for the stillness that exists within the game. There's a beautiful tradition in some small English clubs, where players often walk to the pitch together, hand in hand, in a silent act of unity. It's a quiet bonding ritual that reminds them that, regardless of the outcome, the game itself is a shared experience, an opportunity to connect both to each other and to something greater than themselves. The sound of a football softly deflecting off a post or the net is often more soothing than the sharp blast of a goal scored, a reminder that not every moment in football needs to end in celebration. Some of the most peaceful, reflective moments happen when a ball simply finds its way to a stop and the field breathes a collective sigh. In the quiet moments of a football match, players often find themselves attuned to the rhythm of the game in a way that feels almost meditative. The ball rolling across the pitch becomes a soft heartbeat, each pass a gentle whisper of intention, and every movement a dance between mind, body, and the quiet space they create together. When players lace up their boots before a match, there's a certain peacefulness that comes with the repetition of each motion, pulling on the left boot, then the right, tying each lace slowly, methodically, almost like an ancient ritual where the game doesn't begin with a whistle, but with a quiet preparation of the body and spirit. During training sessions, some players will practice alone on a quiet field, just them and the ball, passing it back and forth with a serenity that can only be found in solitude, the world fading away as they create a perfect rhythm, moving in harmony with the earth, as though time itself has slowed just to watch their quiet focus. In certain parts of the world, especially in the southern Mediterranean, footballers have been known to take long, contemplative walks before matches, letting the landscape sink in, finding calm in the rhythm of their footsteps as the sound of waves or birdsong fills the air, a prelude to the game that brings them peace before the first whistle. There's a beautiful serenity to watching a goalkeeper prepare for a penalty shootout as they stand alone in the quiet of the moment, eyes focused, breathing steady. It's as if time slows for them, their entire world narrowing to the soft thud of the ball as it struck, and in that instant, their only concern is the rhythm of their own breath. In many cultures, football is a way of life that extends beyond the field. It's a peaceful ritual that brings families together. After a Sunday match, players often sit with loved ones, sharing a meal in silence, not needing to speak of the game itself, but simply enjoying each other's presence in the stillness of shared connection. On rainy days, when the pitch is damp and the sky heavy with clouds, the game moves slower, quieter, more methodically. The ball seems to hold onto the earth a little longer, and players learn to appreciate the subtle art of adjusting their movements, creating a softer, more deliberate flow, like a dance in the rain. In the world of football, some of the most cherished moments are the small, quiet acts, the comforting touch of a teammate's hand on the shoulder after a tough play, the knowing look exchanged between players when words aren't needed, and the soft conversations held in locker rooms, where the focus is not on the game itself, but on the person standing beside you. There's something profoundly soothing about watching a footballer, at the peak of their career, take a few seconds before the game begins to survey the field, their gaze steady and calm. In that quiet moment, they absorb everything, the crowd, the weather, the players, grounding themselves in the present, like a tree rooted deeply in the earth. When the whistle blows to signal the end of a match, there's a calming sense of finality, not in defeat or victory, but in knowing that the game for now is complete. The players, tired but at peace, leave the field with a quiet sense of accomplishment, each of them carrying the echo of the match with them in the stillness of their thoughts. In some rural villages, Football is more than a game. It's a weekly gathering where the excitement of competition is balanced by the quiet pleasure of community. The pitch becomes a place not just of sport, but of connection, where laughter is shared not just after a goal, but in the quiet moments between plays, as friends exchange smiles and nods of encouragement. Before a major international tournament, there's often a moment when the players are alone in their rooms, away from the cameras and the crowds, where they simply sit in silence, preparing not just physically, but mentally for what is to come, finding peace within themselves before stepping into the storm of competition. In small, quiet clubs around the world, the best players don't just focus on skill, but on building a sense of calm and connection with their teammates, understanding that football is not just about physical ability, but about creating a shared experience, one where silence speaks louder than words and the bond between players is felt in every touch. In the early hours of the morning, when the world is still and only the birds are awake, some players find peace in the solitary act of stretching alone on the pitch, their bodies slowly awakening to the rhythm of the game, and the silence around them feels like a soft embrace, as though the earth itself is preparing them for the match ahead. On cold winter days, when the pitch is covered in a thin frost, players move more slowly, more mindfully, their movements deliberate, as if the cool air and quiet field have encouraged them to slow down and savor every pass, every touch, as though the game were unfolding like a story told in whispers. In the quietest moments of a football match, the fans become a blur, the noise fades into the background, and the players focus solely on each other and the ball, the game transforming from a spectacle into a shared experience, where the true beauty lies not in the noise of the crowd, but in the calm precision of the game itself. There's a sweet tranquility that comes with watching a footballer dribble the ball, their touch so light and controlled that it almost seems as though they are moving in slow motion, each step measured and intentional, the ball following them like a faithful companion on a peaceful journey across the pitch. In certain peaceful football traditions, teams play not for points or accolades, but for the pure joy of the game, where the whistle is less a signal to compete and more an invitation to come together in quiet camaraderie, to play with love for the sport rather than the need to win. On the quiet evenings when the pitch is empty and the lights are turned off, there's an undeniable peace in knowing that the field has witnessed countless moments of joy, sorrow, triumph, and defeat. A calm reminder that football, in its truest form, is about more than just the outcome. It's about the journey of each player, each team, and each match. Before a big match, many players spend a moment alone in the locker room, eyes closed, breathing deeply as they center themselves, their minds quiet, their bodies relaxed, preparing not for the game's intensity, but for the calm focus they will need to carry them through each passing moment of the match. In the quieter corners of the football world, there are stories of small, local games where the focus is on creating a peaceful environment for everyone involved. No yelling, no harsh competition, just a shared love of the sport and the joy of moving together, passing the ball like a quiet conversation held between friends. Sometimes, when the whistle blows for a free kick, the entire world seems to hold its breath. The stadium quiets, the players tense in their focus, and for a brief moment, the game seems to stand still. It's in these still moments that the beauty of the game is most apparent, where every decision, every movement, feels important, yet serene. In parts of Africa, football has long been a communal activity, with neighbors gathering to watch the game from their doorsteps or under the shade of a tree, where the noise of the game is balanced by the quiet chatter of friends, the sounds of birds, and the rustling of leaves, creating a peaceful, almost spiritual atmosphere around the sport. At the heart of every great player's career is a moment when they realize that football is not just about winning, but about playing with grace and dignity, finding peace in each touch, in each pass, in each moment when the ball is perfectly played, regardless of what the score may be, and sharing that serenity with the world. There's a beautiful simplicity to youth football, where the joy of the game is felt not in complex tactics, but in the pure act of running, kicking, and laughing together. It's a quiet reminder that football is, at its essence, the game that was meant to be played for joy, not for pressure or performance. Some of the most touching memories in football come from quiet moments of support. When a teammate places a gentle hand on another's back, offering comfort after a tough loss, or sharing a quiet smile of encouragement. It's these unspoken gestures that often carry the most meaning, the soft bonds that hold the team together in times of challenge. When the first whistle blows and the game begins, there's a moment of quiet stillness that hangs in the air, like a breath held by the entire stadium, a gentle pause before the rush of excitement, where everything seems to align and the game, in all its simplicity, feels like an art waiting to unfold. The quiet art of passing the ball with precision is a skill many players find calming, as each pass requires not just accuracy, but an understanding of space, timing, and intention. It's as if the ball moves not with force, but with a soft, flowing grace, carried by the shared rhythm of the players. In some cultures, before a major match, players will gather in a circle and close their eyes for a brief moment of reflection, each person silently visualizing the game ahead, feeling the connection to their teammates and the crowd, grounding themselves in this shared, peaceful moment before stepping onto the pitch. During training, some of the most effective drills focus on mindfulness and awareness, encouraging players to stay present in every moment, to be aware not just of the ball, but of their body, their breath, and the energy of the game. These moments of quiet focus, when everything else falls away, are often where the most growth happens. In the quiet between the final whistle and the locker room, when the pitch empties out and the field returns to its natural state, there's a sense of calm that settles over everything, the echoes of the match still lingering, but the stillness a reminder that football, at its core, is a game played between people, not just teams or scores. The most meaningful victories are often the quietest, celebrated not with loud, boisterous cheering, but with soft smiles, embraces, and shared moments of gratitude, where the joy of winning is expressed in peaceful silence, rather than in a roar of triumph, as if the victory was never about the game, but about the journey to that moment. After a long season, when the final match has been played, many players find peace not in the loud cheers of the crowd, but in the small, reflective moments shared with their teammates, the quiet recognition that the effort, the sweat, and the heart poured into every match has created something that transcends the scoreboard. On peaceful evenings when the world feels like it's holding its breath, footballers often find themselves reconnecting with the game in a simpler way, kicking a ball around with friends or family, far from the spotlight, just for the love of the sport, with no agenda other than to enjoy the moment, to feel the quiet joy of playing. In some places, football matches are played under the soft glow of the moon, where the game takes on an ethereal quality, the players' movement slow and purposeful, as if each pass and each touch is guided by the quiet rhythm of the night itself, and the field becomes a place where time seems to stretch into infinity. In retirement, many former players take a long walk along the touchlines of the pitches they once played on, remembering the games and moments that defined their careers. These peaceful walks, away from the noise of the crowd, offer a quiet space to reflect, to be still, and to appreciate the beauty of the game that will always live in their hearts. When the game ends and the stadium clears, there's a quiet sense of closure in the air, as if the field itself is exhaling after the excitement. For both players and fans, the beauty of football is often found not in the loudest moments, but in the soft echoes of the game that linger long after the final whistle.